Fun fact, or maybe not so fun fact, we're closer to 2050 than 1996. Yeah, no joke guys, say it with me, we are closer to 2050, the year 2050, than we are to 1996. Just go ahead and let that sink in for a second. And with 2050 feeling like it's right around the corner, we got headlines like this. 30 countries now ready to accept BRICS currency. As early as this August, these BRICS countries are holding their own forum to talk about de-dollarizing the global economy on its last legs. Do you feel safe and confident in our government and our leaders? Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. Now, it seems that the alliance is on the brink of expanding, and it could become BRICS Plus in the near future. Anil Sukhal, the South African ambassador, has just revealed that over a dozen countries have expressed interest in joining the BRICS and accepting this new currency. And get this guys, the decision to allow other countries to join could be taken as soon as the next summit in August. This is a massive development that could very well have a huge impact on the global economy, so we need to keep a very close eye on the situation. And as we hurtle toward the year 2050, we need to start preparing for the future of the United States. Now, there are 5 geographical events that will completely transform the US by 2050, and well, we need to be aware so that we can prepare for them. So if you want to stay ahead of the game and ready for what is coming, you need to stick around and watch this video. All right, guys, it is time to take action. Also, for the best way to invest in gold or silver, check out the links down below in the description of this video. Hey, listen up, guys. I've been doing a ton of research and I've noticed something seriously wild, some wild trends that could totally change the game for the United States. And I'm not saying this video is going to predict the future, but there's some seriously cool stuff on the horizon that I got to share with you guys. So get this, the BRICS Alliance is getting ready to expand, and their economies are set to race ahead of the US and other Western powers. Now, if this happens, we could very well be looking at a whole new global financial order with the dollar and the euro on the back foot. And guess what? Over 25 countries have already lined up to join BRICS and accept their new currency for international trade. Now, we're talking about big names like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Turkey, and a whole bunch of other countries with major oil reserves. Now, if all these countries start doing business with BRICS instead of the US dollar, well, the United States would be in serious trouble. The dollar could take a huge hit and lose its global reserve status, and that could affect a ton of different sectors right here in the US. So brace yourself, my friends. This is some seriously urgent stuff, and it's going to be wild just to see how it all plays out. Now, that's just to kick things off. Now, with all that's happening, I thought I would look out as far as 2050 and give you guys 5 game-changing events to watch out for right here in the good old US of A. All right, so first off, let's talk about this population explosion. So get this. In just a few decades, there's going to be a whole lot more people living here in the good old US of A. Now, according to the US Census Bureau, we're talking about anywhere from 400 to 440 million Americans by 2050. Now, this is a massive increase in a very short relative period of time. Right now, we're sitting at around 332 million Americans. So we're looking at an increase of anywhere from 17 to 25%. That's over 100 million more Americans expected here. And here's the kicker. It's not because we're all going to just start popping out babies left and right. Nope. It's because we're living longer and more people are coming into the United States from other countries. But here's the thing with all of these different people living longer, we're going to have a whole lot more seniors on our hands. Now, by 2050, over 20% of all Americans will be over the age of 65 years old. So, my friend, this is a big deal. And we got to start thinking about what this means for our country and how we're going to be able to handle all these extra people. Not to mention, how the heck is Social Security going to be paying for more people? You remember our talk about Social Security benefits running out, right? We could definitely see that speed up tremendously at this rate of population aging. I wonder if this might give the government even more incentive to want to wipe us out sooner. Definitely something to think about and something to prepare for. I definitely recommend looking up how to add to your current income stream sooner rather than later. Just a little bit of financial education for you guys today. But let's move on to the second thing that I'm looking at, population diversity. Now, a lot of new Americans coming to the United States are going to be way more diverse than the people that are already here. We're talking about immigrants and residents from all over Asia, Africa, and Central America. But not all states will be affected equally. Now, some states are going to boom, like California with over 49 million people, and Texas, they're catching up real fast with over 45 million people. Florida, New York, and other states, they're going to see some huge growth as well. But hold up, some states like Pennsylvania, Illinois, Michigan, Connecticut, and Vermont are expected to shrink in population unless something crazy happens to make more people want to move up north. So, yep, there you have it, folks. Get ready for some major changes. Now, it's been a wild ride these past 10 years with the climate changing and everything, right? Summers are way hotter, forests are burning for longer, glaciers are melting, and the oceans are rising. Now, all of these things are making it very tough to live in some areas of the country, especially in the southern part of our country. Now, don't get me started on the value of trees. Trees not only help to sequester CO2, but they also help to moderate temperatures by evaporation. Now, as the trees perform photosynthesis, they respirate and they output water vapor, which is also a way that they moderate their own temperature. The water vapor in the air helps to moderate temperatures and ward off soil desiccation. They're more valuable than they appear to be, especially as forests become more mature with associated undergrowth and plant material reclamation. Let's be real, guys. No place is totally safe from climate change. I mean, you got states like California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas all are going to run low on water because of the melting ice sheets, while places along the Gulf Coast and eastern seaboard are going to feel the effects of rising oceans. And so that's why people are going to be moving to places that are not so messed up by climate change. And the Great Lakes region is looking like a pretty safe bet. Buffalo, New York is even expected to be one of the safest cities in the United States in terms of climate change risk. The Great Lakes hold a ton of fresh water, so the region will be less affected by droughts that'll be happening more and more often. But listen up, folks. All of these predictions could totally change if something crazy happens. Like if the United States clamps down on immigration, who knows what's going to happen? Anyway, if you're enjoying this video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button because we got more current events and financial updates coming your way. Now, what about high-speed rail? Now, I'm imagining something like what they showed in Black Panther, levitating with magnets and everything. I mean, just imagine taking one of those from the United States all the way up to Canada. That'd be pretty cool. The United States has been talking about high-speed rail for like forever, but we haven't seen much progress yet except for some Amtrak lines in the Northeast. Now, most places in the country don't even have passenger rail, let alone high-speed rail. But that's all going to change by 2050. So first of all, California's high-speed rail is supposed to start running between LA and San Francisco in 2033. And they're planning to connect more cities after that. Texas and Florida are also working on high-speed rail lines that should be up and running before 2050. Now, once people see how great high-speed rail is in these places, more cities are going to want to use it too. I mean, we could see high-speed rail connecting Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and more by 2050. And because high-speed rail is so convenient and it's fast, it's going to change how cities are built and developed too. Maybe that's how you'll be able to get from city to city when they roll out these 15-minute cities. Next, denser and more efficient cities, hopefully. Most cities in the United States are pretty similar when it comes to development, except for a few cities like New York, Chicago, Philly, and San Francisco. Basically, every metro area has a small downtown area with tall buildings, and then of course there's a bunch of low-rise buildings, there's houses, and of course there's stores. Now, this type of development started way back in the early 1900s with the idea of the suburbs, which was cool at the time, but now it's kind of outdated. Nowadays, more and more people want to live in the cities, believe it or not, and there's not enough space for everybody. So the cost of housing has gone way up. Some states like Maine, Oregon, Washington, and California they've realized this, and they've already started allowing more types of housing to be built in the cities instead of just big houses with big lawns. And so this means more and more duplexes, more triplexes, quadruplexes, or quadplexes, which will make the cities feel a lot more lively and less spread out. And hopefully more states will start doing this too so that people can afford to live in the cities that they love. And last but not least, 1 billion new trees. Like, won't that be great? Seriously, quite a number of states have already been planning to plant a lot more trees in the future. Now, according to the folks over at Global Forest Watch, the country has been losing more trees than it's been planting thanks to urbanization, wildfires, and of course the forestry industry. But it looks like this could all change very soon. The United States Department of Agriculture is planning on adding an extra 1 billion trees to its forests by 2030. That's like adding an entire continent-sized forest to the country. And considering the fact that trees are still the best way to capture carbon from the atmosphere, planting more trees is actually going to be a key in fighting climate change. Plus, this is just the beginning. If the United States kept up this pace, it could plant up to 4 billion new trees by 2050, creating a new forest that's almost as big as Vermont and New Hampshire combined. Now, that's a lot of new trees, which means more space for wildlife and other carbon removal for us humans. Who knows what the future holds? But let's hope that all the good stuff happens and all the bad stuff just disappears. Personally, I'm a little bit wary of putting faith in policy initiatives like high-speed rail and tree planting panning out. This requires active citizen pressure and commitment from government officials, from both sides of the aisle over a long period of time. But hey, fingers crossed, right guys? I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've covered some pretty interesting forecasts and the prediction in today's updates and topics. We talked about the history and the development patterns of US cities and how things are changing to hopefully make housing more affordable and sustainable. Then we talked about the bold plans of the US government to plant more trees, which is great news for the environment and wildlife. Now, the question is, how much of this good stuff do you think our government's actually going to be making happen? Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you guys learned something new and enjoyed our little chat. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button now and turn on notifications to catch more awesome content like this one. And hey, I wouldn't mind if you hit the share button either. I really appreciate that, guys. I'll see you on the next one.